Erev Shabbat Shalom, Parshat Miketz. Miketz opens with the moment in Joseph's life when he's in jail, and literally the expression is in the bowl, in the pit of Egypt. And it all seems hopeless. And in moments, he transforms from being an enslaved slave to a viceroy, to Mishneh LaMelech, to second to the king. And part of the message is that life can change in a matter of moments. Shuat Hashem keheref ayin, redemption and hope of God can happen literally in the blink of the eye. And there's a amazing feeling that the COVID vaccine is finally coming, it's on its way, but it's not there yet. And there's trepidation, there's fear, and the sense of it being there has led many people to feel we're out of the woods and relax some of the precautions that have been in place, and unfortunately leading to more and more cases of this disease, precisely when it seems that we have at least if not the solution at the light at the end of the tunnel. And there's a fascinating debate happening among rabbinic scholars right now is when one is blessed to receive a vaccine, is there a blessing that one should recite at that moment? And there are those who have suggested that Shechianu, thank God that we arrived to this moment. And those who suggest a slightly more nuanced blessing, that of Birkat HaTov Metiv, God who is good and does. The context of that blessing is when it's something that happens, not just that's good for me, but good for others around me. And the initial context of that blessing comes from the story of Beitar, the story of the stronghold at the end of the Bar Kokhba rebellion, when after the stronghold falls and the Romans massacre tens of thousands of Jews, they refused to allow them to be brought to burial for an entire year. And only the following year, the massacre happens on the 9th of Av, the following year on the 15th of Av, are the Jews able to bury their dead. And the dead did not decompose over that year. And based on that, our sages inserted the blessing of Atova Metiv into Birkat HaMazon, and a shortened version of that, of God who is good and does good for others and for ourselves included. And there are those who suggest perhaps the blessing should be the blessing of Hagomer Lachayavim Tovot Shegamalani Kol Tuv, one who does goodness for us, even though we're undeserving, the blessing that's recited after one recovers from a life-threatening situation. The four classic situations are those who traverse the sea or the desert, or recover from a debilitating illness, or freed from imprisonment. So not sure which one exactly qualifies this COVID experience, certainly not traveling. And fortunately, the vast majority of us have not been ill, but many of us have felt that we have been in Beta Asurim, have been held captive from our normal rituals, and now we're able to return. I want to suggest a fourth blessing, and that's a blessing that doesn't speak about me, but speaks about the human condition. And the blessing is when you witness human ingenuity and human creativity. We bless God with the blessing, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, shechalak mechochmato lebasar v'dam. Thank you, God, who shared your wisdom with human beings, with flesh and blood. And I believe profoundly, if anything, this COVID situation has taught us yet again that the world that God created is not a perfect world. It is a world in which we are charged to be partners to help perfect, help to alleviate illness and loneliness. And most of us aren't biomedical researchers, so I think that alleviate the loneliness and the sadness and those moments of imperfection. And when we have the wisdom to do that, it's appropriate not only to act and to act decisively, but also to recognize that that wisdom comes from God. So with that blessing and that hope, as we finish the miraculous lights of Chanukah, I bless us all to appreciate Shechalak mechochmato lebasar v'dam. Thank you, God, who has had the wisdom to share his wisdom with us human beings and to be true partners in helping make this world slightly better, each in our own way. Shabbat Shalom.